Welcome to Financial Focus, brought to you by Gulf Coast Financial Services founder and CEO, John Kuykendall. John and his team of financial, legal, and tax professionals have provided North Florida savers and investors sound, comprehensive financial guidance for over 25 years, helping you to achieve important life and planning goals. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and tune in for more Financial Focus by visiting GulfCoastFinancial.net.
And welcome into the program. This is Financial Focus, brought to you by the team at Gulf Coast Financial Services, your resource, ladies and gentlemen, for a common sense approach to planning. Named Best of the Best in Financial Services by the Lake City Reporter and the founder, CEO, John Kuykendall. With us as always. John, welcome back in. A brand new year here on Financial Focus.
Yeah, Peter, it's great, isn't it? I mean, here we are in 2021. I tell you what, I am really glad that 2020 is over. What a year, huh?
Yep.
I mean, come on. How many things can happen in 1 year? I mean, not only did we have Prince Harry and Meghan Markle decide that they were going to leave royalty, but
that was the start of it all, wasn't it?
I think that's what caused it. I mean,
Yep.
I don't know what happened, but all of a sudden, boom, we got all this stuff going on. The COVID-19, the pandemic, I mean, what can you say about that? Certainly the first time in history that I remember that we shut our country down.
The world. I mean, it was a global type of phenomenon where the entire earth shut down, at least as far as business interaction and human interaction, really.
Yeah, it was kind of like during the wave, it started and then it just kept going and different companies shut down and then we started opening up and we went back. But it was a terrible year for a lot of small businesses, and we really feel for them and feel for the small business owner that had to shut down while we were trying to figure out a cure for this disease. But, it was also, we had a big stock market crash, down 30+%, but at the same time, which was unexpected, we had the fastest recovery in history.
Yep.
And the stock market took off and just kept going. A lot of volatility during the way. But if you stayed in, you made money in 2020. So overall, for the stock market and for the investors, it was a good year.
A lot of people didn't, though. What do they say? Hindsight is 2020. I think a lot of people are kicking themselves in hindsight for the decisions they may have made in 2020, because market timing, inherently a very difficult task. You got to be right at least twice. Get out at the right time, get back in at the right time. And a lot of people miss at least one of those.
Well, that's the problem is that, as I always said, it wasn't when you get in the market, it's how long you're in the market. And I know that when that market started going south, it was hard for people to stay in, but it came back so quickly that they recovered, made up their losses. I know a lot of advisors also are kicking themselves, because I had a client come in the other day who was with another advisor and he'd only made like less than 1% for the whole year because he was in a money market account and they didn't take him out. So, it happens. And it was a terrible year. We had a presidential election, which, we had a little bit of turmoil with the market with that, not knowing what was going to happen there. So overall, it's not one that I want to have repeat anytime soon.
No, indeed. But regardless, I think that more adventure is in store for us in 2021. Of course, it's going to be unpredictable as to what that exactly is going to be. But John, what are you paying attention to as potentially maybe some of the big stories that you expect to see in 2021?
Well, I think that in 2021, we're going to have to be careful. The market's had the longest bull market in history. I think that we need to be careful in the market. And at some point in time, I think we really do need to see a bear market come along to kind of, as I always said, we have to burn the forest in order to make the trees grow. And so we need to have a little bit of a slowdown here. The Secure Act was certainly something that we have to be aware of, and we're still working with documents, helping people with their RMDs and helping them with that transition to the subsequent generations, because as you know, husband and wife or spouse get the stretch, but after that, it's the 10-year maximum. so I can take it out in year one, or by the 10th year, I have to have it all out.
So not maybe just the stretch IRA, but could we expand that a little further and say taxes might be a real big story for 2021?
Taxes are going to be a real big story in 2021. We know that the new administration has said that they want to increase taxes. So far, it's only on the people over $400,000 in salary. But, I mean, that affects a lot of people anyway. And there's no saying that it's not going to be pushed back if they repeal those tax cuts, which sunset in 2028. Then we're going to go back to a higher capital gains and other things sooner than later. So certainly taxes are going to be a big problem. But even with that stretch IRA, taxes are going to be a problem for somebody. So taxes and healthcare are our two biggest concerns as we go forward in retirement.
And could that potentially lead, you mentioned a little bit of a trickle down, I think I heard there, kind of higher prices on everyone, inflation. Could that be a big story in 2021, especially with all the printing of money and stimulus that happened in 2020?
There's no doubt that because of the stimulus that we passed in 2020, and with our already, with the debt being already where it is, that taxes are going to have to be increased eventually anyway. We have to have that. I think that there's no way to stop that. There's no way to that we can put a train to say, whoa, let's stop. We already have the debt. Somehow we got to pay for it. We have to keep interest rates low, because if we have higher interest rates, then all it does is increase our debt because we're paying more interest on our debt.
And yet another story. Now, this one's not new, but those low interest rates probably will stick with us in 2021, therefore.
Rates are certainly causing.
I lost the beginning of that.
I lost you in the end there.
Okay.
That's why I didn't know when to start.
Yeah. So low interest rates will probably still certainly be a story in 2021 and beyond.
Oh yeah, low interest rates are here for a while. We're not going to see interest rates go up. We have seen the Fed say that they would let inflation rise. So inflation, they've already said that inflation can go up. We know it is going up because every time we go to the grocery store, we see how much it costs us in groceries. I went the other day and bought $70 worth of groceries and got out with 3 small bags. So, and 1 pound of hamburger meat was the only thing in the bag that was expensive.
Yeah, I've pretty much experienced, John, I think about a 30% increase in prices in groceries at the grocery store is what I've heard. I don't know if I read that somewhere or if I just felt it in my pocket.
Well, I've read that and I've also felt it. But one of the big problems that we're going to have here in Florida is that Florida has increased the minimum wage to $15. So over the next 6 or 7 years, you're going to see wages increase to $15, which is going to require everyone to charge more for all of the items that you're buying.
Wow. Yeah. So again, that's a trickle up effect, I guess, kind of the opposite, but good at the low end of the wage spectrum, but for everybody could make things a lot more expensive. John, what do you think that we need to think about as far as estate planning goes in 2021? I know a lot of people had questions about that. You mentioned the Secure Act. That's going to be another topic, right?
Oh yeah. That's the big problem right now, is trying to figure out how we're going to pass on our legacy to our grandkids and our kids, and not incur a big burden for them in taxes.
I noticed you mentioned the grandkids first.
Well, yeah, I like my grandkids more than I like my kids. I mean,
it's the same in my family. It's the same in my household. Grandma doesn't even call for me anymore. It's all about the grandkids.
Yeah, it's all, when we're looking at gifts, we're looking at more gifts for the grandkids than we are for the kids nowadays,
Sure. Absolutely.
But it's going to create a tax burden for them because they have to take it out quicker. So if we as a country have been encouraged to build these 401ks, build all these deferred accounts that we haven't paid taxes on, but we know that we're going to be paying high taxes in the future. There's no way around that. Then as we pull that money out, we're going to be paying more and more taxes. And if we pass that past our spouses, down to the kids and the grandkids, then they have to take it out in that 10-year period. So trusts are certainly having to be restructured. If you have a trust, you need to have your attorney review it to make sure that it complies with the new rules, because within that trust, the money also has to come out within 10 years.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, what if we were considering retiring in 2021, John? What would you suggest for that individual?
Well, first of all, if you don't have an income plan, we need to get one right away. I think that in 2021, we need to make sure that we've included taxes, we've Social Security, that we've got everything covered that we need to have covered. And we need to make sure that your income is going to last for as long as you are retired. And certainly we need to look at long-term care. Medical and taxes are certainly going to be two of the big things that we're going to be faced with in all of our retirements from now on. So my concern for anyone retiring this year is just to make sure that we have an income plan that shows how they're going to live, and maybe we start doing some Roth conversions, some other things, paying the taxes now rather than waiting.
Taxes, medical, and inflation. You're talking about identifying and controlling our largest expenses and making sure that we have an income to address them.
Yeah, and the thing about it is, Peter, if we're going to do a Roth conversion and we're going to pay the taxes, we want to do that before we get on Medicare. Because if you're retired and you're on Medicare, then certainly the more money you make, the more you can pay for Part B. So it goes up to $400 and something a month per person. So if you're filing jointly, it's $400 and plus for you and your wife based upon how much you make. So we want to try to keep income low during retirement by having the kind of income that doesn't count towards those things.
That means testing, IRMA, on your Medicare premiums. The more income you have, the higher you're going to pay for Medicare, right?
Yep. And believe me, they used to say they were looking back 2 years. I just got my Social Security statement yesterday. They based it on my 2019 tax return. So my 2021 Part B is based on my 2019 tax returns. So
which would be 2018 earnings.
Yes. So, I've seen Irma and she has hit me.
Not a pleasant time.
No.
Well, John, again, it's a fresh new year. I think a lot of people are looking to get past last year. Thank goodness we're out of 2020. We're into 2021. We want to make some progress this year. Last edition of the program before the holidays, we talked about making those resolutions. Now it's up to us to keep those resolutions. How do we go about doing that?
Well, I think as we talked about in the last show, we need to have our resolution should have been something that was sustainable and more smart, as we talked about. So if we're setting aside a certain amount of money for our emergency fund or a certain amount of money for our retirement, we need to make it automatic so that we don't see it. If it comes out of our checking account automatically, we're not going to miss it. Trust me, we've been there and done that. So it needs to be something that you set up. Your resolutions, if you made a resolution to do an income plan, now's the time to do it. You need to get it started first of the year so that if we need to make changes in the way that we're setting up our money for retirement, we can do that. And certainly, also one of the things that's changed with the Secure Act was that if you're 70 and over, you can still put money in a retirement account.
It's an advantage that they have given us, opportunity to save a little bit more. John, if I say to myself, I'm looking to retire in 2021, that's sort of a resolution, and we probably need to take some steps to make sure we make that happen.
That's right. Or if we're concerned about 2020 and you've decided that, hey, I've got to quit now, I've got enough, and this is the time for me to do it, come in and let's work on that retirement income plan and make sure that you've got enough. But the main thing is that we need to make sure that we have enough life insurance and we have other things, Roths, other things, so that we have a predictable, sustainable income that will last us for a lifetime. You don't want to be like some of these celebrities on this thing you sent me where Michael Jackson was reportedly died with no life insurance and less than $400,000 in the bank.
Wow.
After all the money that he had made.
Yep. The famous stories of estate planning mistakes and blunders are plentiful, but what's sad is the stories that don't make the news because they're not celebrities. Everyday average people like you and I and the thousands that are out there that could be listening or viewing John can easily make those mistakes if they haven't taken some proactive steps to plan.
Well, that's right, Peter. And we talk about estate planning all the time. And estate planning is important. I remember that last year or year before last, I had a young mother come to me with 4 kids. Her husband had died in a car accident. And the only thing she had was a piece of property in another state, but it was in his name only, and he died with no will. So we had to hire an attorney. It was very difficult for her to get the money, and she needed the money right away because she had 4 kids at home, all under the age of 7 to support.
Wow. Yeah, I had a friend whose father passed away over the Thanksgiving holiday, and we were talking, and he said that his dad absolutely still handled 100% of everything from the financial standpoint, paid all of the bills, wrote checks, still hand wrote checks, nothing on auto draft, and mom was left not even knowing how to access the bank accounts. And it was a real mess. So just making sure that we're not leaving our loved ones in that kind of situation is got to be top priority in everyone's situation, John. That's got to be one of our resolutions. Make sure that we're preparing ourselves, but preparing our families and our loved ones as best we can as well.
Oh yeah. And I mean, certainly that's what we want to do is when we leave this world, we want to make sure that the people who are left behind get what they're supposed to get it easily, not make the mourning process more difficult than it has to be, and certainly prepare for it. But, you'd be surprised at the number of people that don't do that and also don't plan for retirement.
Yeah.
It's amazing to me.
Well, if it's 2021 or if it's any time in the next maybe 5 to 10 years, probably a great time to get a jump on it is right now. Wouldn't you say, John?
Oh, certainly, Peter. And the thing of it is there are a lot of new products and new things that are offered from insurance companies and mutual fund companies in the financial world that are different than what we had 5-10 years ago. And certainly there's no reason why you shouldn't have the ability to approach those. It's not about asset allocation. It's about having your assets in the right structure, the right product,
the right location.
The right location so that they do what you want to do. Asset allocation is about how I'm going to make money in the stock market. It's not how I'm going to retire.
Well, if you need help with those efforts and keeping those resolutions in addressing some of those big stories, low interest rates, inflation, taxation, any of the issues that could be big stories for 2021, market volatility is probably going to be there, and we're certain to see some surprises as well. Pick up the phone, give Gulf Coast Financial Services, John Kuykendall, a call, 386-755-9018. That's 386-755-9018, 386-755-9018, or go online, gulfcoastfinancial.com. John, you make the process easy, no cost, no obligation, can even do it through the ease and convenience of technology.
That's right. We handle it online. It's not that difficult. We don't charge for it. It's something that we do complimentary. We just want to make sure that everybody has a plan.
Get that plan put together, ladies and gentlemen. Here's your chance. Great opportunity. Experienced team of qualified professionals behind them there at Gulf Coast Financial Services, there to serve and assist you. 386-755-9018. John, as always, we appreciate the time.
Thank you, Peter. Have a good day.
Have a good year.
Yeah. Go.
Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and tune in for more financial focus by visiting GulfCoastFinancial.net. The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only, without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for a particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature and not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims-paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs. Early withdrawals may subject the owner to penalties, fees, or taxes. John Kuykendall is registered with and securities are offered through Kovac Securities Inc., member FINRA SIPC, found online at www.kovacsecurities.com. Advisory services are offered through Gulf Coast Financial Services Inc., a registered investment advisor in Florida. Gulf Coast Financial Services Inc. is not affiliated with Kovac Securities Inc. or Kovac Advisors Inc. Past performance is not indicative of future results. All investing involves risk. Investment decisions should be based on your own goals, time horizon, and tolerance for risk. Due to various factors including changing market conditions and/or applicable laws, the content may no longer be reflective of current opinions or positions.